Victor's point of view. Upon waking, I stared at the basement ceiling. It was like being in a box in the ground all over again. It was a box in the ground, just with more box over it. I suddenly wished Springer was alive again so I could kill him a little slower. 2 more hours at least until I could leave. The door at the top of the stairs opened. I squinted to see if there was a clue as to who it was. Then the scent of her hit me. "Victor, are you awake?" Echo called out. "Yes, do you need something?" I asked. "I bought blackout curtains today and Drew helped me put them up. You can come upstairs if you want, just not any further than the first floor," Echo replied. I felt a smile cross my face. No more basement, at least not tonight. I was thrilled that she thought of it and bounded up the stairs. If I'd been thinking, I would have worried about a trick. Thank goodness she was as good and sweet as she seemed, and I didn't get burnt to a crisp. She was grinning when I exited the basement. "You seem as excited to leave your basement as I was to leave mine," Echo laughed. "Neither one of us should ever have to live in a basement again." I chuckled. I followed her to the kitchen, where Drew was pulling dishes out of the dishwasher and putting them in cupboards. Echo went to the counter and resumed cutting up vegetables. She must have been working on it and decided to check on me. The feeling of pride I had in her was immense. She was thoughtful and intelligent, a perfect servant. I was hopeful that she would choose to stay with me, and I couldn't wait to see what she would do with this house. "There were no dishes, utensils, or pans. I had to buy everything, including some gadgets and small appliances. Blender, microwave, toaster, like that," she said as she sliced. "And the curtains," I added. "Yes. Oh, Drew taught me about the difference in types of sheets. I didn't realize there was one. I also got stuff for cleaning the house. Tomorrow we're headed to the furniture store, and I have someone coming at 3 to give a quote on tinting the windows. I still plan to get more curtains, but I was thinking an extra dark tint on your windows might be better than paint, which can flake off. What size bed do you want in your room?" she asked. I smiled. She was much more talkative now. Drew was pretty good at getting people to relax and open up. He's managed to get Springer to talk about a few other things before I killed him. I knew he was the best option for helping her relax. Echo just needed to see that she was safe and actually in charge of her life. "King size. I like to sprawl," I winked when she turned to look at me. "Okay, we'll buy a whole bunch of stuff tomorrow, and you'll really regret giving me that card," she giggled. "I don't think I'll ever regret giving you anything, little one," I smiled. Drew dropped a dish that clattered onto the floor. Echo looked relieved that it didn't break and turned back to her work. He stared at me. "You have no idea," he whispered. Echo didn't seem to hear. We weren't able to talk mentally since he wasn't my servant, but I could hear very well. And depending on how much vampire was in Echo's blood, she could too. I shook my head, telling him I didn't want him to say anything else, and he turned back to the dishes. I had no idea what he was about to enlighten me on, but I didn't want to upset Echo. I'd given her some work that was close to what she had experienced before, and she was adapting well. Everything else would have to wait. In 2 days, Rosalind would come and test Echo to see what her bloodline was and how much of it was vampire. But all of the facts were already pointing her to being at least half. The question was, how? Her father was entirely human. Her mother was about a quarter, but that was baseline for the descendants of vampires. It would never drop below 1/4, no matter how diluted the line. I was betting her sister and brother would be a quarter as well. And it was entirely possible that was what her parents meant when they said she'd stolen from the other 2 children. They were probably under the impression that the other 2 would have been half or more, but she absorbed it from them somehow. We tried to look into their birth after I spoke with the last 3 vampires on my list, but it was like the family had just appeared, fully formed, in town almost 16 years ago with 3 2-year-olds. It meant they were running, but why? If her sire came for her, they would have been compensated, even more than I gave them. One of the vampires had been old and experienced enough to know what she was. He offered the family $700,000 for her. She was worth exceptionally more. Her parents' greed was a boon for us.